Close your eyes and picture this. You're fed up with your job. Your boss sucks, the pay sucks, the work sucks, what have you. Or you just graduated from a 4-year college, you have yourself a nice 4-year degree, but no marketable skills. Or you just want to make more money, whether it be a side hustle or a primary thing. So to do that, you decide you want to learn how to code. So you open up YouTube and you type in, how do I learn to code? The first thing that pops up is an awesome video, tons of views, tons of likes, so you click on it. When you start watching the video, they tell you that they started learning from a book. So what do? You go out, you buy that book, and you start reading it. And as you're going through, the book tells you that, yeah, you can learn how to code all this stuff, and they recommend Notepad. So from there, you start coding in Notepad. So you're working along with the projects in the book, in the Notepad, you try to render the page, it doesn't work. After spending hours going through trying to find what's wrong, you're missing a bracket, or a semicolon, or a comma, or there's a typo. There's 1,000 issues that you could have and you wouldn't even know because you're coding in Notepad. Coding in Notepad is like having to build something with those little tiny Allen wrenches they give you instead of using a socket wrench. Or if you've never had to build anything, it's like hammering nails in with a pencil. And sure, a pencil could get the job done, but it's a lot harder than it needs to be, and that pencil's better suited for other, much more simple things. Well, that was what the first month of my coding was like. It was very difficult. And luckily enough for me, I ended up stumbling across a Udemy video that went over installing actual IDEs on your computer. So for this video, that's why I want to take a look at the top 5 things I wish I knew when I started coding. And number 1, the most important thing that I wish I knew when I started coding was that it gets easier. Guys, it really does. When you first start coding, everything is a roadblock. Everything's new, everything's confusing. No matter how simple it is, it's hard. And then when you start working with these things together and combining them, it becomes a giant concoction of just carnage. But the more you use them, the more you figure out how they work. It's all about learning through experience, and it will get easier. Now, I've gotten a lot of DMs on my Twitter. Some of you guys are feeling overwhelmed at the beginning, and that's normal. I felt the same way, I promise you. But it gets easier. Just keep going. Don't let the first few months dictate how the rest of your learning process is going to go, okay? The first few months are rough, very rough, and it's easy to feel like you're not smart enough or that this isn't for you, but just grind it out for a little bit. Trust me, it's worth it. Second most important thing, make sure you guys are using an IDE, okay? AKA the thing you use to code, okay? So instead of coding in Notepad, you guys can all do yourself a favor right now and go download yourself VS Code. I'll have a link to that below, and that will save you so much time. For one, there's add-ons and extensions that you can install that can help you visibly see things that are missing in your code. Like when you're first learning, the brackets are really hard to keep track of. There's an extension called Prettier that will set up your brackets and kind of color them differently so you can see where one set of brackets or parentheses opens and closes. So much easier to keep track of where things are starting and finishing. Also, if you're missing a semicolon or use a comma instead of a semicolon, it will appear like a text error does in Microsoft Word. And also, if there's typos, and also if there's a simple enough typo, like let's say you declared a variable somewhere and you spelled it wrong somewhere in the code, it's going to show up as a different color, which will immediately alert you that something's off about it, so you need to do some investigating. All in all, a good IDE will save you a lot of time, a lot of effort. Do yourself a favor if you haven't already. Go download VS Code or another IDE of your choice. Do some research, see what you want, and never code in Notepad ever. It's not worth it. All right, the third most important thing is the importance of creating references for you. Okay? We all learn differently. We all pick up on things differently. When I first started, I would just get my notepad and just write notes out, and there was no real flow to it. I just wrote everything that I thought was important. And because I was new, everything was important. So I filled up this notepad of just notes and There was no flow to it or system, and when I needed to go back and find something, it was a mess. So what I've started doing recently is every time I learn a new concept, I try to build a small little project just working on that. And in that, I can leave little notes if I need to, telling me what's going on. But really, I can open it back up and see how I used what and why. You know, and I know what's going on when I look at it. It's not for everybody, but it's for me. It's a personal reference. So do that. It helps get those concepts down in your mind, and it goes a long way. You'll always have something to look back to if you're ever stuck on that concept again in the future, and it will save a lot of time. Number 4, that free code camp and the Odin Project exist. Now, if you guys watched my earlier videos, you know I was kind of doing my own thing until I came across the Odin Project, and a lot of that time was, I don't want to say wasted, but it could have been spent better. Free Code Camp and the Odin Project streamline the learning process 1,000 times more effectively than just like jumping through random Udemy courses, YouTube videos, and books. At least in my experience. Everybody learns differently, but the way that those two websites present the knowledge and like the general flow, it just makes learning so much easier. So if you guys are new and you're still trying to learn, do go check out those two websites. See which one you like more, it's personal preference, and then go from there. And if you guys want to know more about the Odin Project, I do have a video going over the Foundations course and another one going over the JavaScript course. I'll have a link to those below as well. Feel free to go check those out. And the 5th thing that I wish I knew when I first started coding is the importance of planning. It is so imperative for you guys that whenever you start a new project, think about what you're doing and how you're going to do it. I used to just dive into these projects and start because I was so eager to put my skills to the test, and I start building something, and then halfway through I'm just completely lost and have to spend hours like rereading my code or refactoring my code and watching videos and looking at other sources trying to figure out what was going on because I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't think about how I was going to get there. Now I'm all about the 360 view. I want to know where I'm starting, where I need to go, and where I'm going to end up. And once I have those points outlined, I just build from there. I know why I'm building, what I'm building, and where I need to be. So if any problems pop up, which they inevitably will, let's be real here, you're gonna get stuck on something. I have a better idea of what I need the solution to be. I don't even know if that makes sense, but it makes sense to me. All right. And if you guys stuck around to the very end of this video, I do thank you. I'm gonna throw a bonus one out there, all right? This one is that the sunk cost fallacy is real, especially in coding. So when I first start learning, if I was building a project and I got stuck on something, I would not stop trying to figure out whatever it was that I was stuck on forever. Like if I spent an hour trying to figure out what was causing this bug and then still didn't get anything, I would just keep at it. Like, yeah, sure, I'd get up, go take a break and come back, and then I'd keep working at the same bug. I spent so much time trying to get it that I'm gonna get it, right? And then all that time's wasted. When instead, what you should do and what I do now is if I hit a roadblock like that I just cannot figure out, I'll go take a side step, work on some other areas of the project, and then come back to that problem. Maybe working on the side will help you kind of figure out what's causing the issue here. Maybe it's a typo, maybe you're missing something. The other work, it can't help. Also, the progress continues and you're not stuck just wasting all your time. That's a big one. All right, and that's gonna do it for the 5, or I guess 6 things now that I wish I knew when I started coding. And if you guys are enjoying the content, I have new videos out every Sunday night or Monday morning, depending on where you are in the world. And if you wanna keep track of those videos, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, help me out with that YouTube algo. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one, all right? Oh, you should also check out, wait, wrong side. I'm doing this for the first time. You should also check out one of these videos here. They'll treat you to a good time, I promise. All right, guys, I'm out. Peace.